What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay up to date with Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. I know I said that I was going to have the Trust the Bank podcast out today. We had to reschedule, so it's going to start coming out tomorrow, and I'm going to be on vacation, and then the top 10 greatest Ravens of all time series will be out consecutively daily for 10 days straight. So that should be a lot of fun. So, make sure to subscribe if you want to see all that type of stuff. I've seen a lot of things that I really want to talk about, but this video, I wanted to talk about Jimmy Smith and what he said. But in the Trust the Bank podcast, we'll be going over some of the other things that I've been seeing and kind of Ravens. I don't know if you could call it news, but maybe rumors, because, I've seen some stuff about the Ravens should trade for Michael Thomas and things like that. Joshua and I will most definitely be going over that, and that we'll be doing that all tomorrow. So we'll get those segments out for you as soon as possible. But I apologize. The podcast is now, you guys are stuck with just me today. But let's talk about it. So Jimmy Smith came out and said that he absolutely would not play for another team. And I think that makes a lot of Ravens fans feel pretty good, because Jimmy Smith, longtime Raven, drafted and started playing for the Ravens in 2011. First round pick 27. That's something that, the Ravens can be excited about, that you get to have a for life player or expected for life player in your franchise. It's not super common anymore. Even Ravens legends like Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs, two of the greatest Ravens of all time, they didn't finish their careers as a Raven. Like, I know they were retired with the Ravens, but they played for other teams. Ed Reed went to the Jets, and Terrell Suggs went to Kansas City. Like, those are things that, it hurts to see those guys in another uniform. We all want to see the Ray Lewis type players where they play for the Ravens their entire career. Now, Jimmy Smith isn't Ray Lewis, but he's been a key part of the Ravens defense since he was drafted by the Ravens. And so knowing that he's going to be staying with the Ravens is absolutely amazing. But that begs the question, how much longer will he be playing for the Ravens? Because Jimmy Smith has been on the cut list, the trade list, all those types of lists in most off seasons the last 2 or 3 years. We've been talking about, is this finally the time that the Ravens move on from Jimmy Smith? So how much longer will he be a Raven now that we know that he's just going to be a Raven? We're not going to be able to trade him. The only way that Jimmy Smith no longer plays for the Ravens, if he's cut, he purposely retires, or the Ravens say that they're not going to re-sign him after this year, because his contract does end this year. He's on a $2.5 million, well, it's like $2.25 million contract with the Ravens this year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent. And so what does that mean? I think that it means that Jimmy Smith probably retires after this year, but there's a lot of factors that can go into it. Now, the first factor that I'll talk about is the money. Jimmy Smith does not want a lot of money. He recently signed a $2.25 1-year $1 million extension. Boom. That's very, very cheap for a player of his caliber. I would expect him to take a similarly cheap deal, probably a veteran minimum, if he were to return to the Ravens after this year. And we've already seen it so far this offseason, how much he means to this team. We got Marlon Humphrey, Ravens fans would all agree that he's the top 3 cornerback in the NFL. If somebody's not a Ravens fan that's watching this, I'm going to say top 5 to, I don't know, get people from not getting mad. But come on, we all know Marlowe's number 1. But, we got Marlon Humphrey, and he's one of the best corners in the NFL, and he is out there, at minicamp, at, OTAs, and he's just right there with Jimmy, getting advice. Jimmy's, Jimmy in his prime. The best year of Jimmy Smith is not better than current day Marlon Humphrey, but that doesn't matter, because he still has technical advice that he can give to Marlon to help him improve his game. He's a leader in the secondary. He's the guy with the experience. You look at, we got Marlon, we got Marcus Peters, And then we've got Anthony Averett and a ton of young guys. Shaun Wade, we drafted Brandon Stevens, Ardarius Washington, even Deshaun Elliott's only in his 4th year. And then obviously we have Chuck Clark, who's a little bit older, but not that old. Like Jimmy Smith, I believe, is the oldest like actually playing player on the Ravens secondary. They may have someone that's older that doesn't really get snaps, but he is the leader of that secondary in terms of experience and things of that nature. So the Ravens want him for that reason. And then another reason why the Ravens would want to keep him is because he's still a good player. He can be a legit outside corner still in the NFL when he's able to actually get on the field, because that is a major issue with Jimmy Smith. But when he gets on the field, he is decent. He's not as good as what he once was. He used to be a guy that you could put on a top tier wide receiver and have him do all right. I don't think you could put him on a number 1 anymore, or at least a good number 1 if we go up against, a team that doesn't have a very good number 1. Like I feel like Jimmy Smith could guard like Tyler Boyd or somebody like that. Sorry, Bengals fans. But, overall, I think Jimmy Smith could cover that. But he could cover a number 2 or a number 3 wide receiver on the outside, and he could absolutely do it. And, you pair him and as a number 3 cornerback in an outside set, if Shaun Wade's able to step up, we'll see what he's able to do at the nickel. If Tavon Young steps up, we'll see what he's able to do at the nickel. Jimmy Smith would probably be the Ravens' 4th best cornerback on the field. He would be the 4th best cornerback on the field in the NFL, because no team has that level of depth in the secondary. No team. Especially at just one cornerback position. The Ravens don't have a ton of depth at safety, but, at the cornerback spot, they have a ton of depth. So overall, you look at Jimmy Smith, it's like, oh, wow, this guy's a beast for how low he is on the roster. So the Ravens can want him for that reason. However, a reason why the Ravens may not want to retain Jimmy Smith is because they want to give the opportunities to the younger players. Brandon Stevens, we don't know exactly where he's going to play. The assumption has been that he is transitioning over to free safety. However, he could still definitely play cornerback, especially when we have Deshaun Elliott still. We don't know if he's going to be here next year. His contract is expiring. Probably talk about that with Joshua on the Trust Bank podcast. But the Ravens may want to use their younger players. Jimmy Smith is not going to get any better. The younger players can get better. So they got to see what they have in those players, in Brandon Stevens and Shaun Wade. And heck, even if we keep Iman Marshall, if we have Anthony Averett, we want to use these guys. And Jimmy Smith isn't getting any better. He's probably going to get worse every year that he continues to play. He's getting older. The Ravens may want to move on from him for that reason. And the final reason as to why that really comes into the decision-making process for the Ravens is how healthy is he going to be? I'm going to read off Jimmy Smith's recent years of games that he's played since 2016. So in 2020, he played 11, played 9 and 19, 12 and 18, 12 and 17, and 11 and 16. He started 5 games in each of the last 2 seasons. I love Jimmy Smith, but he's only giving you 75% of the season, 50% of the season. That makes it very difficult. And when you have young players, you want to have some certainty when you go into the season. Okay, we think this guy can stay healthy. Now, you take that risk of a guy that's a bit injury prone if he's a premier player. For example, Tavon Young, when he's played, has been a premier slot cornerback. So you're willing to kind of take that risk. But with Jimmy Smith, it's okay, we'll get an okay cornerback currently, as an overall cornerback. As a number 4, like I said, he's a very good. But we may only get him 8 games out of the season. Or 12 games. You can't expect them to play all the games. And that means some games we're going to be putting some an inexperienced cornerback in the mix, and a Brandon Stevens and a Shaun Wade and an Iman Marshall, whoever we end up putting in there. That makes it very difficult because whenever you have to plug and play guys, it's just a transition, and having them get that chemistry with the safeties. We see Marcus Peters and Chuck Clark still are bickering all the time because, things happen, and they've been playing with each other for almost 2 years now. So it's very difficult to get those transitions and things like that. And Jimmy Smith makes it so those transitions have to happen all the time. And so for the injury reason, I think that the Ravens do move on from Jimmy Smith after this year, but I am happy that he's going to retire if the Ravens move on from it. Or, unless he lied and then he's just like, yep, nope, I'm going to play for another team. I expect him to retire if he gets cut based on what he said when he said absolutely not play for any other team. So those are my thoughts on Jimmy Smith. It's really sad that he's probably going to be gone after this year. It's probably going to be retired, but, at least he's going to be a Raven for life. Even if he went for another team, he'd be a Raven for life anyway. But it's happy that we'll only ever have to see him in the purple and black. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content and turn the notification bell on to get notified for the GOAT series that's going to be coming out, or the GOAT Raven series that's coming out. And I will see all of you again tomorrow with the first segment of the Trust the Bank podcast.